Here we are, for the third time in 2 days, this is like a record, back on the hood of the Leviathan. And what are we doing? Well, I just wanted to play kind of a little game and in the process explain something. I have been really ragging on that quote-unquote reprint of the 4th edition Champions book, the one that is not actually a rewrite, but they have reprinted the scans. And honestly, I'm going to tell you straight up, if the ad blurb had not said that it had been reprinted based on high quality scans, I would have left it alone completely. It looks like they tried to print screen captures or something. It's terrible. And I won't lie, I'll still pick up another one just because if my players have got to thumb through a book and tear it up, it might as well be that one. Now, what we have here is a counterfeit Champions 3. I know it's counterfeit because I made it myself. It was my very first scanning project, trying to learn how to scan. I had just bought the scanner that I missed the most, an old Canon flatbed I called the Super Scanner. It would scan at resolutions that would kill any computer on the market at that time. I mean, flat out destroy it. I made a mistake one time and asked it to try to scan something at 9600 DPI just to see what would happen. And that computer didn't unlock for almost 3 days. Now, these were all printed off of high quality images, or that is to say all the pages of the counterfeit. So, which one is the counterfeit? I'm going to lean over here and go ahead and grab this one because all of you who are familiar with this old stuff know that this is not the counterfeit. And of course you see all the wear and tear on this one, but it's also differently colored. And the wear and tear is because I loaned the counterfeit to a player, and it took me a couple of years to get it back because apparently they read really slowly. This one is also a counterfeit. Now, I am not bragging on anything. I had never in my life used any sort of image manipulation software. I had no classes. I had no instructor. This was the very first time I had ever messed with Photoshop. And I did not own this particular copy of Champions 3. In fact, mine was so bad at the time that it didn't last another 2 years after I did this. And I did this even before I was married. It was terrible. It was destroyed. The cover was falling apart. It was torn. There were chunks missing out of it. I mean, it was just absolutely deplorable. I was quite tickled when I found this one. I don't think I've had this one just a few months. It's got a weird cut or a slice in it, but I'm telling you, it's that's almost as good as a brand new one. Now, I was scanning all of them. I was scanning the 1E book, the 2E book, and Champions 2 and Champions 3. And I had a mentor, a woman that I absolutely adored. And she taught me so much. This is what she did for a living. This is the kind of stuff she did for a living. Her name was Deanna, and she was one of the most wonderful people I have ever met. And honestly, probably one of the most wonderful people I ever will meet. And she taught me a lot, and she kind of remotely, she kind of let me play around on my own, which is why the quote-unquote art restoration on this is so bad. I mean, I can't do art today. And all I wanted to do to this image wasn't really to put it back to the original, but to try to fill in all the missing pieces from the chunks. And you can kind of see, especially on the face here, actually kind of my behind, you can really see. The face here is clearly the original, I don't know what you call it, stippling, colored with little dots. And then this massive blob, just this massive solid blob of green helmet. Because that was one of the chunks that was missing. I had forgotten that those weren't red, but they were also missing. There's a lot of heavy lines. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and take it all apart piece by piece, because that wasn't the whole reason I did this. We'll just do a side-by-side here real quick, and you can sort of see what I changed, mostly on accident, and partly because I was having a good time fooling around with it. I wasn't looking to make something to try to sell to a museum. I wanted to preserve the book. And I gotta be honest with you, for a guy who has never, ever in his life, until that very moment, done any sort of image manipulation, in fact had barely used a computer, I don't think I did a terrible job. Compared to a professional, compared to the guy who originally did this, oh Lord, yes, this was just horrible. This was an absolute butchery. But, you know, I colored inside the lines, and where I couldn't, I just kind of redrew the lines. You know, that sounds like a plan, right? But the reason I wanted to show that to you, and I kind of wish I had brought that 4E print of scans down here, print of high quality scans, out to the hood of the Leviathan with me. You know what? It's a good idea I didn't, because I'd be bagging all over it again. Anyway, there's now a video and a half that features shots of that. Look at this. Look at this. This was done years and years ago by an idiot. These are high quality scans. This is the level of work that I put into my restoration and creation of the Western Hero PDF. Oh yeah, for anybody who did not know it, I was the guy who did the legal and legitimate Western Hero PDF. That's me. But look, I almost wish I had better light. I'm sorry folks, I've been busy today. And let's face it, I live in central Georgia. Lots of rivers, all of them 30 minutes from me. Nothing around where I am except hot, hot sunshine. Look at the back. Now, all the dirt and smudges you see on here are not printing artifacts. They're not. This is just wear and tear. Because for years, I only had the 3 counterfeits. I say the 3 because I gave one away to a player, a very, very long-term player, who was moving out west to follow a job, and I gave him a boxed edition of 2E with a spare Champs 2 and one of the counterfeit Champs 3s as a going away present. So I'm now down to just the 2 counterfeits. And I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't even try to sell them because, you know, they are counterfeit, and I ain't trying to cause that kind of trouble for anybody. Now, these are some of the test pages. Now, Deanna is the one. She was the master of printing, the mistress of printing. She was just an awesome human being, still is. These are a few test sheets or leftover sheets or whatever. Anyway, I've got a lot of page 17. We're going to whip that out because we can open it with impunity. First thing I want to point out, cover dead on. Dead on, almost by accident. Same grade of cardstock, same gloss. Color was my error. That's when I learned that you can scan a color, scan it perfect, but not get the same color. And that you have to go back in there and tweak that by eye, even if it means printing a couple of times. This is how I learned that. You know, practice and all that good stuff. But I want you to see what a print from a high resolution scan actually looks like. You see how close I can get to this? And what you are seeing, even when I lay the camera right down on the paper, what you are seeing is not pixelization. That's off page 64. So those of you with your Champions 3 books and who have used up all of your picture pages, poor Bob Keeshan, I encourage you to go to page 64 and to focus in on, you know, this isn't pixelated because that's just not how printing was done. What you are seeing, you see that same blurring, that same bit of fuzzing. That's where the ink has run over the years, and I cleaned a lot of that out when I did the scans. I mean, my book was actually a bit more yellow than this one is now, mostly because half of my players were smokers. No, I don't smoke, sorry. I just sound like it. This is what printing off a high resolution scan looks like. Now, amusingly enough, And I never complained. She was an absolute saint for doing this. I did make a joke about it and laugh a little bit. It's the wrong paper. This is magazine stock paper. It's really heavy, high quality magazine stock paper. But it's glossy and it's shiny and it makes that neat, I just rubbed a balloon noise. And obviously we all know what this stuff looked like. This was just heavy paper. But I had to put this up here so that people can see that it is possible. It is entirely possible to scan a book and to reprint it and have it actually look just like it was printed. The key is to use a high quality scan. Slapping a new heavily pixelated logo onto your book, onto your really, really crappy scans, is not using a high quality scan. Maybe I'm bagging on it because I spent $30 for somebody's collection of ultra crap scans. And because I know I'll do it again. So let's go to the cover. This is also, the red is also a little wrong. And again, I apologize for the lighting, folks. It's getting a little late here. Sun's starting to set, and I get a yard full of trees. What do you want? No pixelated. Here's straight angled lines. You should see some, look, it's so close the camera can't even focus. No pixelation. None. How about that S? That's a good place to see some. No pixelation. Now again, this is 1200 DPI. You could have got very nice results with 600 DPI. Not this nice, but nice enough. In fact, Deanna was the first one who told me that you don't want to print anything that was scanned at less than 600 because it will look like it's raining Triscuits. All right. I mean, there's nothing here. There's nothing new, nothing amazing. Oh, hey, look, see? No artifacts. You can do a high quality scan. And you have to clean the artifacts out manually. Because if you don't clean them out manually, if you try to use those big bulk tools, you'll get all of your text chewed into and eaten up. And it will turn lighter and lighter and lighter until it is impossible to print. And you end up with what I have spent a video and a half showing you. This is not a bragging thing. This is not something I wanted to say, hey, look what I did. I did this. I just wanted to show you it is possible. It is completely possible to do exactly what the advertising for that book promised and failed to deliver. All right. I think I'm about done. You folks enjoy yourselves.